Sup guys, welcome back. Do you want to eat healthy and get the most out of your food? Let's talk about nutrition. Alright, let's talk a bit about the food that we're putting in our mouth and the food industry as a whole. You want to be putting good and high nutritious food into your body if you want your body to function well and live long. All health organizations, doctors, chefs, nutritionists agree on that as a basic rule. You want your food to be organic, high in nutrition, and have a good impact on you after you eat it, which may be the next half hour, or even the next day. And of course, you want your food to taste good. Alright, now we know what to eat and everything's awesome, right? Wrong. Because nutrition science is so wonderful. It's always telling us on a Monday to eat red wine and meat, but on Tuesday, don't eat that. And that can be super confusing and annoying at the same time. But why is it? Why is it so inconsistent and so many different points on different subjects? It all kind of boils down to scientific studies and how they are done and the flaws with them. One of the problems with most scientific studies around diets and food consumption is that it is insanely hard to make a definitive conclusion about what is the resulting factor of the study. Because there is no perfect scientific study. Like if that existed, it would take 10 to 20 years and all of the participants would have to be stuck in a box and do all the same things like exercise, sleep the exact amount of time, everyone, and that just isn't possible. And because of that, there are so many variables in each study. Like for example, we see a lot of people that come into these studies start to exercise more or sleep better or just take better care of themselves compared to other people in the same group in this certain study or even in the placebo group. It skews the data so much. Of course, we have some studies like observational studies that are good, but none of them are perfect. That I would say is the biggest problem with all these nutritional and food studies. Then we have the problem of industry, which is that some studies are funded by companies to make the studies look like this or like the outcome of the study to be this or this or this, which almost right away dismisses the study in my opinion. Like for example, the sugar industry has done so many studies on how sugar in some way is good for you and that the obesity epidemic is caused by fat, saturated fat instead of sugar, which is a lie, which is a known lie. I will leave a link in the description about that article that actually proves that and other articles about this subject, of course. Also, another problem is the interpretation of the result of the study. Like you see in some articles or in the news that like nuts cause cancer and that's so hyped up and they don't actually show the real result of the study. And in the article or news segment, it doesn't actually show the real data, so you can't actually know. And again, there are so many variables. The people that actually ate the nuts might exercise more or sleep better than the people that didn't eat the nuts. So in general, just be aware of who's funding each study. Then we have the fact that humans handle food very differently. Like each person handles it very differently, have a different microbiome. And of course, the biggest common thing with these studies is that they performed on animals. Then sometimes the result is automatically transferred onto humans. But as we know, humans are a lot different than most animals. Like mouses, for example. Mouses are born blind and rarely eat meat and high-fat foods. Then to put all the flaws of scientific studies into perspective is the fact that nutrition studies are fairly new. So we need to be patient and go back to the basics. With that in mind, you can think like macronutrients weren't even like protein, fats, and carbs weren't even discovered until the mid 1800s, and vitamins not even until 1900s, which means nutrition science is just in its early days and just needs to grow up a little bit. Now, enough of the problems with scientific studies. Now we can go into what they have told us, really have told us, and we can actually take from them and put into our daily lives. Then we need to ask ourselves, where do we want to look for that information? And for that answer, I personally, and some other scientists of course, would look to the healthiest and most long-living people on the planet. And we have actually zones for that, which are called blue zones. I'll put a link in the description for a site that actually names out all of the zones. And the common factor in these zones is that people live longer and even longer without disease. And also, to be fair, people in these zones actually sleep well, exercise, or basically they move. They actually do not exercise. They just have a routine. They set up their day that way. They just need to move, and they're very happy. It's a very common thing in all these homes. So, what are these people eating? They're eating mostly organic vegetables, fruits, seeds and beans, and organic grass-fed meat and fishes. Then we need to ask ourselves, what are they not eating? That's always the same thing. That's no processed foods and almost no sugar. The amount of sugar is so small, but the processed foods, none of it. And they do not eat as much during each meal. They almost all have a process of stopping when they're like 80% full. And the last thing to say, basically, just drink water, guys. Don't drink all these sugary drinks, Coca-Cola, Fanta, or inhale these energy drinks so much. These energy drinks are so bad. But mostly just drink water. Coffee, tea can be okay in moderation. That's my opinion, at least. Of course, there's so much to talk about and say on this topic, but I really think that this video hits home the two biggest points when to think about what to put in your mouth and what to eat. And something to keep in mind also is a certain type of diet only works for 2% of the population. Other people just find what works for them and eat in harmony with yourself. So it is mainly, in my point of view, eating in harmony with yourself, with your body. Eat organic food that makes you feel good, that gives you energy, makes you lasting energy throughout the day, and has a positive effect on you and your body. And listen to your body after you're eating. Just like listen to it. Listen to what the signals are that your body is giving to you, because that is how to live a long and healthy life. And drink your water. Alright guys, that's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. A really good book on this subject is by Weston A. Price, Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. I recommend that strongly. Otherwise, be sure to like and subscribe. Again, thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next video.